Although we're already halfway through 2025, Apple still has a record number of products to drop before the end of the year. There are so many new things in the works, from 4 new iPhone models, big AirPods and Apple Watch updates, new iPads, new Macs, and even some surprises that I can't believe are finally releasing. All of this is dropping pretty soon, so let's go in chronological order, starting off with Apple's next event in September, which historically is always their biggest product launch of the season. The first new product that we're likely going to see is AirPods Pro 3, and we know this because Apple themselves just accidentally revealed in code that iOS 26 supports these new headphones even though they aren't out yet. Now, we don't know exactly what they're going to look like just yet, but previous rumors suggested that they could go completely stemless, just becoming these circular orb headphones that definitely look a little odd. Either way, we know that the audio quality is definitely increasing thanks to Apple using a new H3 chip on the inside, and this also is going to boost active noise cancellation at the same time. However, the flagship upgrade for these headphones is actually going to be a new health feature, as AirPods Pro 3 are said to add a heartbeat sensor. Interestingly, this is a feature that Apple has already added on their Powerbeats Pro headphones, and it's super useful. If you're somebody that works out without an Apple Watch, you can get that health data by using just your iPhone and your AirPods alone. No question, these are going to be Apple's most ambitious headphones ever, and the company is also extending their ambitions to the second generation AirTag they've been working on. Design-wise, AirTag 2 will look pretty much exactly like the first version, but with a couple of key improvements. On the inside, Apple is greatly improving the tracking capabilities, using a new ultra-wideband chip that gives you a 3x boost on range. This will make finding your items from further away significantly better, and it should also be more accurate when using an iPhone that has that same latest ultra-wideband chip. At the same time, the tracker is also getting more tamper-resistant. It's possible that Apple could switch over to an enclosed rechargeable battery system, but we don't know if they're going that direction for sure. We just know that things like the speaker will be way harder to disable. Of course, though, new AirPods and a new AirTag will be the smallest part of Apple's September event, as the big new product every year is Apple's newest iPhone lineup, which this year is the iPhone 17 series. Per usual, Apple is releasing 4 new iPhone models this year. At the bottom, we have the base iPhone 17, which is honestly going to be pretty similar to an iPhone 16, but with a slightly larger 6.3-inch display. It will finally be a 120Hz panel, but it doesn't sound like battery life or even like the processor are really getting upgraded at all. It's really with the iPhone 17 Air that things get interesting, because this is an entirely new type of iPhone that Apple has never tried before. It is razor thin at just 5.5 millimeters, and it's really just a phone made to push boundaries. Or in other words, all the features are gonna come secondary to the way it looks. Like on the back, there's only a single camera, and while it is a 48 megapixel sensor, you definitely aren't going to have the shooting range of Apple's other iPhones. Sound quality will also be compromised because the phone is so thin that there isn't enough room for 2 speakers. The only speaker will be built into the earpiece at the top. And most notably, the battery life is going to be pretty rough. It sounds like we're expecting the same as we saw on the iPhone 12 from about 5 years ago, but in a product this thin, I don't really know what else Apple could do to fix this. Yeah, like I said before, the entire point of this phone is just going to be the way it looks. Although Apple's planning a pretty big design change on the Pro models this year too. On the iPhone 17 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, the company is mysteriously switching away from titanium and going back to aluminum. It's said to manifest in a unibody design with a much larger camera bar that extends across the entire top of the product and a new cutout for MagSafe charging down below. With this, I think it's likely we see reverse wireless charging here, where you could set your AirPods or another iPhone on the back of yours and charge it up on the go. Above that, the camera system is also getting a lot better, with the telephoto zoom lens increasing to a 48 megapixel sensor, which should allow you to do further zoom without losing quality. Plus, on the front, the dynamic island might finally be getting smaller, although the screen sizes are staying steady at 6.3 and 6.9 inches. Altogether, the iPhone 17s are shaping up to be Apple's most compelling lineup in years, which is going to be a breath of fresh air from the disappointment that the 16s have been. Now, my favorite way to charge on my iPhone and all of my Apple products is with the Ugreen Nexode 165-watt retractable power bank, and they actually sponsored today's video. This power bank charges up all of my devices ridiculously quick, but especially something like a MacBook Pro, you get up to 100 watts of power from a single USB-C port, which can bring a 14-inch MacBook Pro from 0 to 54% in just 30 minutes. And with a massive 20,000 milliamp hour capacity, you can bring an iPhone 16 from 0 to 100% up to 3.8 times. It's been the perfect travel companion, especially because it comes built in with a retractable USB-C cable. So if you forget one on the go, you just grab this and you can power up one of your devices immediately. And on top of everything else, there's a nice display on the front so you can see your charging activity in real time, which is super handy. In addition to this, Ugreen also has their Nexode 65-watt retractable charger, which also has that built-in retractable cable and 65 watts of fast charging. So check out Ugreen's Prime Day deals by using my link down below in the description for up to 40% off. A huge thank you to Ugreen for sponsoring this part of the video. Now let's get back to it. Now, following the iPhone 17, Apple will also be announcing a bunch of new Apple Watches in the fall. And this year we are getting the new Apple Watch Series 11, the Apple Watch Ultra 3, and a new Apple Watch SE at the same time. For starters, the Apple Watch Series 11 will be Apple's first to support 5G. Although technically it's a different version than the 5G on your phone. Specifically for watches, it's called 5G RedCap, which you can kind of think of as a mini 5G that is optimized for wearables like a watch on your wrist. Basically, it should translate to faster upload and download speeds on your watch without having a big impact on battery life, which is I think why Apple held out to adding 5G until this generation. But the flagship upgrade on the Apple Watch Series 11 might actually be blood pressure monitoring. And I say might because this was supposed to launch last year, and then it was supposed to come this year, and we're still hearing right now that Apple has not exactly gotten it consistent or accurate yet. To be clear, if Apple can crack this, it would be a big deal. It's estimated that about 1 in 3 people globally have high or low blood pressure, and an estimated 40-something% of those people don't even know they have the condition. With the Apple Watch Series 11, it would constantly be running an algorithm in the background to detect this condition, and then give you a notification similar to high or low heart rate that recommends talking to your doctor, as it could be something of concern. Personally, I really think Apple needs to have this ready for 2025 because looking at the rest of the Apple Watch Series 11, there is just not much else that is changing. Although on the Apple Watch Ultra 3, Apple has much bigger plans. In addition to getting the 5G connectivity and probably a faster chip on the inside, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is finally getting satellite connectivity. This has been a huge hit for iPhone users that like to travel around and go off the grid in places without cell reception, and on the Apple Watch Ultra 3, I've always seen this as making the most sense here. I mean, combine satellite connectivity with 5G RedCap, and I think the Apple Watch Ultra 3 will be a lot more appealing to a lot more people. But maybe the most appealing new Apple Watch will be the Apple Watch SE 3, as Apple is said to be completely redesigning this with a new colorful plastic housing that is specifically reminiscent of those early iPhone 5C models. Now, being that this is Apple, it's of course going to be a premium, nice feeling plastic, but I don't really see this going over that well. I think the idea is to have this product appeal more to parents looking for a smartphone alternative for their kids. On the inside, the Apple Watch SE 3 would also be getting a faster chip, but I don't think it would get the faster 5G, as this is a budget product. Apple's going to leave it on the lower cellular spectrum for probably as long as they can. Now, so far, we've already talked about a lot of new Apple products, but as we move into October, Apple is just getting started and they have another major product launch planned. And around this time, it's every year that we see a bunch of new Macs, although some rumors say that the first appearance of Apple's new M5 chip might be in an iPad Pro after all. Now, considering that Apple just did the major redesign with the ultra-thin iPad Pros, I am not expecting any major changes here, and it does sound like the only upgrade will be that new M5 chip on the inside. But even the M5 chip itself is going to be a minor change again year over year, because it's still based on Apple's same 3nm architecture. We're only expecting it to be about 10 or 15% faster. I mean, the only other big change that is rumored for this new iPad Pro is that on the back, Apple might finally be rotating the Apple logo to fit the landscape orientation instead of portrait. As at this point, Apple has made it pretty clear that the iPad Pro should be used in landscape most of the time, especially with the big multitasking improvements in iPadOS 26. But as you'd probably expect, the main products getting Apple's M5 chip are a trio of new Mac computers. We have a new MacBook Pro, a new Mac Mini, and a new iMac rumored to launch before the end of this year. Unfortunately, looking into the rumors for all three of these products, they're not really changing much at all. See, initially we heard that the MacBook Pro would be getting a complete redesign that is significantly thinner, way more powerful, with an OLED display that is also touchscreen, but all of that has been pushed to next year. So new MacBook Pro redesigned from the ground up, that's 2026. Super small spec bump across the Macs, that's 2025. Although in regards to the M4 chip, Apple still has one new product to announce with that later this year, and that is the second generation Apple Vision Pro headset. It's no secret that the current version has not been a great seller due to its extremely high price and also hefty weight sitting on your face. You'd probably assume that the second gen version would fix that. But according to a new rumor, the only hardware change on the second Vision Pro will be an M4 chip on the inside. Apple is putting this in, I guess, to boost performance, but the actual physical weight of the device won't be changing. Apple's just been working on a new head strap to make it feel lighter when you wear it, but with this product coming 2 years after the original, I just can't believe how slow Apple is moving, and I don't think anyone will be jumping on a Vision Pro 2 if it's still just as heavy as the first one. Luckily, Apple is coming back down to earth to finally deliver on some long-awaited updates for 2 other products. I can't believe they're finally doing this. The HomePod Mini 2 is finally expected to release before the end of 2025. Now, Apple has not updated this product in nearly 5 years. It was actually released alongside the iPhone 12 in 2020. Of course, the sound quality should be improving thanks to a faster S-series chip on the inside, but most interestingly is this will be one of Apple's first products to use their in-house combined Wi-Fi Bluetooth combo chip, which should make the connectivity on the speaker really good. Apple's going to be bringing everything they learned from in-house chip design, in-house cellular modem design, now to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and I can't wait to see this work in action. I'm sure we'll also get some new colors on the HomePod Mini 2 because it's also been a while since Apple refreshed those. Of all the products Apple makes though, there is always one thing that gets left behind in the dust for years at a time, and that's the Apple TV. In 2025, Apple will once again be refreshing the Apple TV, but it is going to be like a little bit better and also kind of the same thing again. The design, for example, is not going to be changing at all. It's going to be the same plastic black box that Apple has been making, I think, for actually a decade at this point. But it's internally where Apple will be updating it with a faster chip, likely the A17 Pro or the A18 chip, so that this device now supports Apple Intelligence natively. But I really wish Apple would do more with this thing. It feels like with just a bit more effort, Apple could turn this into a serious gaming product with how powerful their own silicon is, but I don't know if just a chip they already have will do that. It'll be a better Apple TV, but not by that much. Honestly, counting all of those products up, it could be Apple's biggest October ever as well, which now brings us to the rest of 2025 and the 3 wildcard products we might also be seeing. The longest rumored product by far here is a new Apple display. We have heard rumblings for actually years at this point of a new large 32-inch mini LED display with 120Hz ProMotion built in. But for some reason, after 5 or 6 years, it still hasn't materialized yet. We don't know why they keep pushing it off, but potentially it ties into the second product here, which is a redesigned Mac Pro. We've been hearing about it for like half a decade, and it's strange considering that the Mac Pro was once Apple's most premium and expensive computer, yet it still hasn't been redesigned to fit Apple silicon. It's the same look as when Apple was using Intel chips, the only Mac to be doing that. But the looks don't matter as much as the internals, because the big upgrade on this machine would be a new type of M-series chip that Apple has never used in any other computer, one deserving of their highest end Mac. Leaks have called it the Extreme chip because it's said to use 2 Ultra chips in conjunction with each other, sort of like how one Ultra chip is comprised of 2 Macs, the Extreme would be comprised of 2 Ultra. Basically just sounds absolutely insane, and I would love to see Apple introduce this. And speaking of Apple products that I really want, there's a single product we haven't talked about yet, a product that we were actually supposed to see back in March of this year that coincided with the launch of the new Siri features with Apple Intelligence. Remember how Apple said that Siri would be able to know your personal context, and then they said, just kidding, we don't know how to do that yet, so give us another year? As it turns out, this product was directly tied to that launch because it was going to take advantage of a lot of that new Siri functionality. This product is what people are calling the HomePad, which is essentially Apple combining a larger HomePod and an iPad together as this new home hub device powered by Apple Intelligence and AI. According to rumors, it's a square device that has a 6-inch display. You can either set it on something like your table, attaching it to a speaker dock, or even mounting it to your wall inside of your home. It's also going to have a camera too, so you can more easily do FaceTime calls, setting this in some place like your kitchen. The software is also completely new. It's what Apple is calling Home OS, and it's said to look reminiscent of standby mode on the iPhone, where you have these modular squares with information that changes throughout the day, using AI to recommend things most relevant to you. The reason I call this a wild card is because, again, technically it was supposed to be out, so it could theoretically launch at any time. We just don't know if Apple is waiting till next March when Apple Intelligence is finally done, or if they're going to push it out sooner before all that capability is there. Regardless, Apple's second half of 2025 is looking absolutely stacked. I feel like we had such a dud year in 2024 with them trying to do all this AI stuff, and this year we're just getting back to good, solid products, generally speaking. Except from the Apple TV. They better do something more with the Apple TV, or I'm gonna lose my mind this year. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like down below. Hit subscribe for more videos on Apple products, because I love them. And if you love them, then maybe you'll love me too. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.